Least favorite swim?
Least favorite swim?
Lubbock.
Ugh. Huh. 2020-2021 triathlon season is in the books. It's kind of weird because it was such a long season, but also it's kind of like it's over.
Where did it go?
So we have a lot of favorites that happened over the course of the 6 half Ironman races that we did over the season, and we just wanted to take some time to share our thoughts and give a little bit of feedback of what we think of the races and our favorites and maybe some of our least favorite moments of the year.
Had a few of those too.
Unfortunately. First and foremost, let's start with the swim. So favorite swim of 2021 season?
Favorite swim? Honestly, I don't think I can answer this. So the swim course, which I thought was going to be great, Waco, you know, point to point in a river, wasn't any current, but that was okay. But I ended up having a goggle malfunction, so there went that swim. And the other swims where I didn't have goggle malfunction, it was just either it was a short swim, long swim, slow swim. So let's just skip that part. And what was your favorite swim?
My favorite swim was probably Daytona, not because of anything special, but it was short. So it was easily a PR. I think I did that in like 32 minutes or something, so not too bad. And then I would say maybe if there's a runner-up, St. George was pretty cool, and you know, that was the only feather in the cap that I had for St. George because it was the only portion of the race that I got to complete. Maybe honorable mention there, runner-up.
Least favorite swim?
Least favorite swim?
Lubbock.
Lubbock was horrible because it's in a man-made lake in the town, and there's a drainage ditch that pretty much goes right into the lake, right toward the finish line of the lake. And lo and behold, we had a horrible, monstrous storm that came into Lubbock the night before, the morning of the race. Luckily, it rolled out in time for the race to start, but when we got the last, 200 yards of that swim.
Every stroke, you were catching something, and it's like, I don't want to know what it was.
Twigs, limbs, face masks.
There's probably some tires in there too.
It was horrible.
Next up, bike.
All right, so we're gonna talk about the bike, and favorite bike course, I think for me is Chattanooga. I know I didn't perform as well as I wanted to on the course, but it was a nice course. The roads were pretty good. The crowd support was really good along the way, especially when you got down into Georgia. And it was just fun. It was a fun bike course, nothing too hard. It was certainly controllable and maintainable. And if I ever get the chance to do Chattanooga again, then I know exactly how I'm gonna approach it, and I'm not gonna leave anything out there on the course at all.
Yeah, and crazy enough, despite what you may have heard about the Waco bike course, and I will admit the roads were in poor conditions, I think that may have been my favorite. I mean, that was a standout bike for me. I came into the run in 7th because of the solid bike ride that I had. I had the 5th fastest bike split in my age group. So how can that not be, you know, my favorite bike?
All right, so we're done with the swim, done with the bike, and now it's time to head out on to our favorite run of the season.
Favorite run for me, I think, was probably gonna be Lubbock. I think Lubbock was where I laid it all out there on the run course, and when I hit the finish line, I had nothing else to give. I felt very accomplished with that run. It was also a very good time for me as well. I do remember about halfway through on the run though, I may have been cursing a little bit to myself, thinking how hard it was and why am I doing this sport, but I turned that around real quick and got back to a positive vibe, and I just kept pushing, and I felt really proud of myself afterwards.
I think overall my favorite run course, just because it's straightforward, no nonsense, was Claremont. It was pretty straight, not much elevation up or down. There was one short punchy climb, but it was a lot of shade, well supported, and I felt really pleased.
Yeah, that was a great run course. I will give them that. I don't think that could be my favorite because I hadn't quite figured out my nutrition at that point, and let's just say I had to make a stop or two along the way. So
maybe not my favorite run course, but a course I did enjoy was Chattanooga. Everybody built it up to be really difficult as far as the hills and the heat, but I didn't think it was as difficult as people built it up to be. And there was also incredible crowd support all along the way. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the difficulty of the course of Chattanooga. And like I said, I'd like to go back one day and see how I could conquer it, knowing what I know and really laying it all out there. I think that's a course that could be primed for a PR at some point.
Yeah, I think from start to finish that Chattanooga had the best crowd support from swim, bike to run all the way through.
Overall favorite moment of 2021 season?
Overall favorite moments? You know, I may have to take it back to Daytona and on the bike course where right at the beginning, you're coming out of transition and it literally dumps you onto the bank of the NASCAR track. And how cool is that? Mm-hmm. So you take 2 laps on the NASCAR track and it's just, you have no idea how that grandstand, it just goes on forever. You cannot grasp it mm-hmm. from watching it on TV until you go and you race this bucket list race. And if it's not on your bucket list, put it on now. I think I have to follow that up with the second greatest moment. I believe coming out of T2 at Waco, and my wife is right there telling me, I'm in 7th place.
You're in 7th? You're 3 minutes down.
With some killer competition ahead of me, and I'm in 7th in my age group. Top 10 never even crossed my mind.
I think my overall favorite moment was Challenge Daytona because it was our first race in I think 14 months, and it was a long stretch, and out of desperation we were looking for any opportunity to race. They said for sure that Challenge Daytona was going to happen, so we hopped on that opportunity. We drove ourselves to Daytona and did this, definitely a bucket list race, and to be able to swim in the lake within the confines of the Daytona International Speedway, to ride our bikes 2 laps around the Speedway, and then to run mainly within the Speedway as well. And then on top of that, both coming away with PRs, at least at that point, and both breaking the 6-hour barrier for the first time ever, something that we had worked for so long to get to.
Man,
and finally doing it. Yeah, of course, yes, we do know the course was a little short in some aspects, but still, it was a great way to launch ourselves into the season that we had and give ourselves an opportunity to learn some things that made us better.
So we took a few road trips. Went to Florida a couple times, and we also drove to Chattanooga, and then also Lubbock. I remember thinking as we drove into Chattanooga, I was just in awe of the landscape. Mm-hmm. I had no idea how beautiful Chattanooga is, and honestly, we've already got next year planned out for our races, but I wouldn't be surprised if you find us heading back to Chattanooga in the coming years to race again.
I think I had a lot of favorites in Chattanooga, and yeah, that was definitely the best overall experience road trip wise. It's just easy to get to, the landscape's beautiful, the community is so supportive, and it was our first Ironman branded race in quite a while. So it was like, I guess the definition of racing being back in that spirit and the energy of an Ironman branded race, you couldn't top it. We had a great time, and of course we enjoyed some Chattanooga whiskey after.
Ooh, if you do race Chattanooga, post-race celebratory, you need to head to Chattanooga whiskey. Mm-hmm. Fabulous whiskey there. Now, I know we haven't said that St. George wasn't really mentioned much for any favorites, but I can't not say that was probably, the most epic race. If you haven't seen our race recap on that, I would probably go back a few weeks and check that one out, because there's just so much to say about that race. You get the feel of a world championship race, and then skies opened up and it released a wrath on all of us. Mm-hmm. And it may not
wrath is very appropriate.
It may not have been my favorite swim, bike, or run, and it probably had my most gut-wrenching moment of the season in that race as well. And I can't not let this episode go without giving some love to St. George, because, all in all, it was just every single emotion was let out in that race. Every single emotion.
For sure. I'll say, for me, through my eyes, I think St. George was a very big turning point for you. I think the way you conquered that course and the time that you turned in, just over 6 hours on that course under those conditions, I have seen you take that moment, channel that into the training going into Waco, and put that all together in Waco. And I think if you did not experience St. George, you would not have had that same result that you did at Waco. I think being able to run those hills and to turn in that run split on that course in St. George, I think that's totally the game changer. And I am so glad that you had that experience so that now all you got to do is work on that swim.
And that's why we're here. On a Friday afternoon.
Favorite race shirt? How can you not like Chattanooga, the hot pink and the teal? I think it's perfect.
It's sharp.
One of the favorite shirts that I love to grab out of the drawer and just lounge around in. And great memories from Chattanooga all around. If you haven't noticed, I really, really like that race.
And how sweet is this hat, right?
I think it's extra special too because it's got some autographs, and we got to meet Paula and Eric, that Triathlon Life, got their autographs. And then of course the one and only Taylor Knibb, the up and coming triathlon star, is gonna do great things. She's already paved her path, and that was really cool to get to run into her at the swim practice at St. George. So yeah, definitely a collector's edition there, and looks pretty sharp. So some good merch and good swag we got along the way.
Overall, as the season progressed, the one thing that just grew and grew with each race were the amount of cheers and, hey, Team Saunders, I follow you on YouTube, or hey, keep doing the good work, love following.
I love the YouTube channel.
Oh, hey, thank you.
Setting up our transition, and out of nowhere, someone's hollering at us, like, y'all.
Yeah. That's really cool. Or being on the course and, somebody passing you on the bike, say, go Team Saunders. Or even when I was in Waco and I wasn't able to race, there were still so many people that said, go Team Saunders to me, carrying the camera, following you around. And that's really special. And I think over the past year, we've started to build something as far as a community is concerned, and welcoming and supportive. And, we want to keep that going. I can't wait to see where it goes in 2022. And we thank you for supporting us and following along, and, come join. Let us know what you think and how we can keep growing this movement and the passion for triathlon. And we love it so much. We love sharing this with each other, but we also love opening the eyes and opening the world to a sport that has meant so much to us over the years.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons we started, documenting our journey, is because we wanted there to be something out there for someone to follow along, someone that's just picking up triathlon and wants to know a little bit more about it. We thought, well, what better from a couple age groupers' point of view?
That's right. We're still working the 40+ hour a week jobs. We're still doing all the things and getting the training in, and trying to become better triathletes, whatever that means. Yeah, it's a movement, and it's special, and we're so glad to have all of the support from everybody along the way, and those words really do mean a lot. It's not lip service. We truly appreciate it, and we appreciate you for watching. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, do all those things, and we'll be back next week with even more goodness. And as always, thanks for watching. Time to go get her in the pool.